Good morning from the Super Bowl. Got some 49ers news this morning. I have a lot from this busy week. We get to do it from the home studio, which is cool. Game is tomorrow. 49ers had the top quarterback room in the NFL in 2025, and they are planning to keep it together. Now, this goes in line with what we had heard from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch as soon as the season ended. It goes in line with logic, but it is just further confirmation along this train of thought. The 49ers are not looking to trade Mac Jones this offseason. Diana Rossini, the latest to report that. The 49ers' preference is to keep their Brock Purdy, Mac Jones tandem, which is the best quarterback room in the league in 2025, intact. Kyle Shanahan very obviously likes what he has in Mac. I think that this needs to be shown and emphasized. This is QBR, probably our best way to quantify quarterback play. Brock Purdy was number 2 in the league. He's an absolute superstar. He's never ranked worse than number 7. And Mac Jones, as a backup who played nearly half the regular season, 8 games, number 9 in QBR. The 49ers will be going for it. They always go for it, but they're going to be pushing some chips into the middle of the table in 2026. And I don't think that you can honestly go for it without being set at that backup quarterback position. The last time that the 49ers made a strong Super Bowl push, 2023, they had Sam Darnold, who's about to start against the New England Patriots for the Seattle Seahawks as their backup quarterback. And they didn't have to play Sam all too much. I know he came in for a few plays over the course of the regular season, and then he started the meaningless game against the Rams at the very end. But they had the option of going to a backup quarterback in case Brock Purdy did get hurt. It was very important in 2023, maybe even more important than normal that season because Purdy was coming in with the hurt elbow. And obviously, even if Sam didn't play, he was able to pick up a lot from Brock. I wrote a whole article about that this week, and he turned into a quarterback that has now led his Seattle Seahawks team to a Super Bowl. I don't think the 49ers were quite as strong at that backup QB position in 2024. Now, they had a lot more to deal with as a team, problem-wise, outside of the quarterback spot, but they went 0-2 when Purdy was unavailable. The first game was Brandon Allen in Green Bay. The second game was Josh Dobbs, who is actually the backup of the New England Patriots in this Super Bowl, starting against Arizona, and the 49ers lost both of those games. When Mac Jones was the starter here in 2025, the 49ers went 5-3. The truth of the matter is that well over half of NFL QB1s miss at least some time. So you need a decent backup. The dynastic 49ers with Montana and Young recognized this and enjoyed the luxury of this more than anyone. And the 49ers would love to perpetuate it. I think they were very smart to sign Mac Jones to a 2-year deal. They will have some, potential leverage here in case they are blown away by an offer for Mac Jones. But I think that the obvious preference, because, you could read the writing on the wall, too. Somebody like Minnesota might be interested in bringing in a veteran, but they could bring in Kirk Cousins to be joined in there with J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings can bring Kirk Cousins back. It's not just Mac Jones is the only veteran quarterback who might be available. Seeing the success that Sam Darnold had leaving the 49ers after being a backup with them could also encourage another team which is hungry to get a quarterback who's been through that Shanahan car wash, could encourage another team to pay a hefty price for Mac Jones, maybe even up to a second-round pick. But even then, the 49ers would have to think long and hard about weakening the depth of their quarterback room. And currently, Mac is scheduled to make a $1.4 million base salary in 2025 or 2026. And he'll have incentives in his contract that can make that worth about $2 million or maybe a little bit more. So the price is definitely right for somebody who's able to deliver, again, number 9 QBR, ahead of even Lamar Jackson for the 49ers last year. Now, speaking of very, very solid quarterback play, some of the best quarterback play in history, it comes from a Bay Area native, Tom Brady. I want to show you guys a little bit of what's been going on throughout this week at the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is behind the opening of a card vault location right across the street from Oracle Park, where the San Francisco Giants play their baseball. And that, of course, was Tom Brady's childhood baseball team. Anyway, we were at the grand opening last night and got a couple cool interviews too. So let's check out the scene in San Francisco over the course of this Super Bowl week.
Good to see you, my man. How you doing?
All right, Tom Brady's new store Card Vault's got some real memorabilia. You see Steve Kerr here. There is Steve Young in his Bucks jersey. And there is Brock Purdy in the 14. That's his rookie season before he moved to the number 13 with the 49ers. Now, this has got a hell of a location. It is right across the street from where the Giants play, Oracle Park. And that obviously was Tom Brady's childhood favorite baseball team. Probably still his favorite baseball team since he grew up in San Mateo.
Ready, San Francisco! And look right here.
All right, you got it.
Apparently this guy is TikTok famous. The Costco guy or the Boom guy. But he's here. He's in the house.
I like when the Niners do well. I really do. I think there's like certain franchises in the NFL that like when they do well, the NFL is just better. I think the Niners are just one of those franchises. Such a majestic franchise with Montana, Rice.
Well, you see that's Purdy. That's Purdy in his old 14 jersey.
Oh,
when he was a rookie, before they gave him number 13, he wore 14.
Oh, wow.
Cool,
Oh,
yeah.
that's interesting.
And that's the majestic jersey, like the gold helmet and all that.
Yeah.
So. Who did you grow up a fan of?
New York Giants. So we had a big rivalry going.
Nice.
Yeah, Giants and Niners. You know, Giants and Niners had such a big rivalry in the late 80s, early 90s, but there was such a respect. There was such a respect.
There was. They prevented the three-peat, right?
They prevented the three-peat. I mean, how about when you watch the highlights of that game, that 1991 NFC Championship game? I mean, they were just crushing each other.
They killed
Those were some
Montana.
monster hits in that game.
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the end for Joe and the start of Steve when they blindsided Joe in that game. So.
And then Steve came back strong in '97, right? Yeah, I think it was
Steve Young.
Steve Young,
Yeah.
right? Was it? Yeah, I think it was about '96, right?
Well, Steve
95,
took over
95, I think, right?
Yeah, well, he won the Super Bowl.
He won the Super Bowl in 95.
Yeah, exactly. And then played toward the late '90s, and then the dynasty ended for the Niners.
Left-handed quarterback.
And he's up there too. That's with him with the Bucks right there. See right above Tom.
Okay, yeah.
Before they traded for him. So
Yeah, he had some legs too. He can run the ball.
Oh,
yeah.
It was fun to watch. That was my childhood watching Steve Young and that. So.
And of course, how can we talk 49ers football without talking about Ronnie Lott?
Oh, that guy took people's heads off too, man. That was a different era back then.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott. Who were some of those big linebackers you had back then too?
Keena Turner would have been in the 80s.
Turner.
Matt Millen was a linebacker for the Niners.
Wow.
They had Hacksaw Reynolds in the early 80s.
Michael Carter was your big nose guard.
Yeah, Mike.
Right?
Yeah,
He was also an Olympic shot putter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then they had Ken Norton Jr. who boxed the goalpost in the mid 90s.
Haley came a little later, right?
Well, no, a little bit before edge rusher, and then they traded him to Dallas.
Okay.
Which was a big mistake. But
Yeah, that's right. Now Haley was a part of that late '80s, early '90s team, right?
Late 80s, early 90s before he went to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the fateful trade. Are you enjoying San Francisco?
Love San Francisco. What's not to love? I mean, look at this city. I mean, look at this. We got Oracle Park right here. So the Bay is right on the other side over here?
Yeah, the Bay. Barry Bonds used to hit home
Bonds
runs.
used to send home runs, right?
Yeah,
so what are we looking at? We're looking at home plate right here?
Yeah,
or?
home plate's going to be right there on that tower, and then right field is that way.
Got to come to a game here this summer.
Oh, you got to come through, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They got a new manager and everything, so
all right.
Maybe they'll be better than 500. I lived here through 2010, 2012, 2014. They won 3 World Series.
No, that was some great
Bro,
years, right?
City was on fire.
Buster Posey, right?
Posey's
Tim
the GM now.
Oh, Posey's your GM
He's
now.
the GM now, yeah.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Great
Love
meeting
it.
you, man.
Thank you so much.
Cool,
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Congrats
San
on
Francisco brings the boom.
There you go. At the very end there, we had the Ferry Building. I shouldn't have here. Let's hear from him one more time at the very end. Here through 2010, 2012, 2014. They won 3 World Series. He's the GM now. Cool. Great
Love
meeting
it.
you, man.
Thank you so much.
Cool,
It was
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, congrats
San
on those.
Francisco brings the boom.
And there you have it. Tom Brady up on the Ferry Building. They had the big light show every single hour, I think, from 6 to 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. as well. They are reliving 60 years of Super Bowl memories on the Ferry Building, Pier 1 in San Francisco. One of the cool things that they've been doing throughout this entire Super Bowl. So I didn't know who that guy was. And then we met at this Tom Brady card vault grand opening by the ballpark, and the boom guy or the Costco guy, and I guess his son is also in on it, and his son was inside. Didn't talk to his son, but talked to AJ. AJ's his name, from lives in Florida, but grew up a New York Giants fan. And I'll say that he knows ball. I mean, he knew all about the Giants 49ers rivalry in the 90s. And then he said that he wanted to head to a San Francisco Giants game because that card vault place is right across King Street from Oracle Park, 24 Willie Mays Plaza. So that was cool. And then there was a lot of other good stuff that was happening over the course of this week, still going on right now. That's Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion on the Pat McAfee show, drilled his shot. And, Fernando Mendoza's got the San Francisco skyline on his LinkedIn profile, which is really cool. And the San Francisco skyline was in the background of his Pat McAfee shot. Here's a little behind the scenes look. This was one of my TV appearances here, Cron 4. We were talking about the sandwich piece, and we were talking about the 49ers. This is in their studio in downtown San Francisco. Of course, that there is the behind-the-scenes look at the sandwich piece that I'm sure many of you have seen. It's been really neat to see San Francisco sandwiches and San Francisco food in general just get the shine that it deserves this week as an elite world food city. And I think that sandwiches make up a very, very important part of that. I think, you guys know what I said in the video. I don't think there is a city that does the deli sandwich better than San Francisco. So it's been gratifying to see the world learn that over the course of these few days. Obviously, Deli Board has blown up, probably more than anything, thanks to Dave Portnoy and Barstool visiting that after our video. That was very, very cool this week. And everything has really taken off like wildfire. There's Jerry Jones rolling down Van Ness Boulevard in San Francisco. That's the Cowboys bus. There's Fred Warner and Puka Nakua on Radio Row. They were doing a podcast, at least sponsored by Madden. Warner and Nakua both went to BYU, same college. And then, speaking of an elite food city, there's Tony's, the 4-time World Pizza Cup champion margarita pizza from Tony's in North Beach. I know that I feature sandwiches, but we decided to just go traditional with the pizza last night too in North Beach. Again, this pizza has gone to Italy, the home of pizza, and has won the World Pizza Cup 4 times. This specific pizza, it's the margarita from Tony's. So a Neapolitan-style pizza. Look, we'll rewind, and you could even see the steam here coming off the pizza when it was delivered last night. So normally there's a big line at Tony's, but we snuck into the bar, and everything worked out really well. So we're going to be talking on this morning about Mac Jones. I think it tied in really well to Tom Brady, because remember, Mac Jones was essentially the successor of Tom Brady. I know they had Cam Newton in there in between Tom Brady and Mac, but Mac was drafted in the first round by the Patriots. The 49ers did not take Mac in the first round, as many expected in 2021. Bill Belichick and company, Robert Kraft, obviously the franchise that is now here in the Bay Area for this Super Bowl, they wanted Mac to take the torch. And for a while there, for that first year, it looked like Mac was going to be able to lead the Patriots to perennial contention, but things soured after year one. Mac ended up heading to Jacksonville for a pit stop. Then he came to the 49ers here in 2025, resuscitated his career, played better football than we've ever seen him play. He's going to be a starter again in this league. He'll get another bite out of that apple, but I don't think that it's going to happen this next season because the 49ers really want to keep him. Again, if they are blown away by an offer, then you can start talking. But I just don't think that it's likely that the 49ers are offered something tempting enough to move off of the security that Mac Jones was able to bring them. I mean, it wasn't just a high floor backup, he was a high ceiling backup in that he was number 9 in QBR. And when the majority of NFL starters are missing time due to injuries, it naturally happens over the course of the season in a violent sport. Well, then it's the most important position. You need to have some insurance there. Yes, the 49ers could theoretically move on to Curtis Rourke in 2026 as their backup, but he hadn't played at the NFL level yet. You're not really sure what you have there. They've got Adrian Martinez in the building. You know what you have with Mac Jones. So the price to move off of him, I believe, would have to be immense. In 2013, when the 49ers had solidly moved to Colin Kaepernick, they traded Alex Smith to the Kansas City Chiefs for a second-round pick. It's a big haul. If somebody offers a 2 for Mac Jones, the 49ers probably have to think long and hard about trading him. But even in that scenario, it would not be a slam dunk decision just because of all the issues that I just illustrated. If you're trying to build a robust roster, well, then depth at the most important position is an important component of that. And QB is that most important spot on the football field. There was no better QB room in the NFL last year than what Brock Purdy and Mac Jones were able to bring to the table. I mean, it seems like a year ago that the 49ers hired Raheem Morris to be their defensive coordinator. I still have the text title here that I popped up on the screen. It was about a week ago, right? I think it was last Sunday. Yeah, it was last Sunday. We were still over in Scotland at the time, about to get on a plane in Scotland when the 49ers hired Raheem Morris. The whirlwind of Super Bowl week has hit since. The Seahawks and the Patriots play down at Levi's Stadium tomorrow, and then roster building and staff building for the 49ers is going to really pick up in earnest. It's been busy here in San Francisco. I'll say this. I was in downtown yesterday doing a lot of Radio Row stuff, and also there was the big Innovation Summit. It was a first of its kind of thing for the Super Bowl. Downtown San Francisco was absolutely buzzing this week, especially yesterday. You know, the weekend shows up. Everybody is now in town. This is kind of the peak of everything, right? The Friday and the Saturday before the Super Bowl. And, you know, I think that the neighborhoods in San Francisco had already had an electric vibe for a while. I think that those have bounced back really well following 2020, 2021. But downtown had not bounced back yet. And maybe we can say it hasn't bounced back yet because 1 week of the Super Bowl, you know, that could be really temporary. But something tells me that just getting to see, hear, and experience a bustling downtown in San Francisco in a way that it was every day in the 2010s and before that. I mean, it's like the New York of the West Coast as far as the tall buildings and the energy on the streets in downtown. Getting to see that again, I think, is really, really important for this city in its turnaround because it shows that, yeah, even though the Super Bowl is going to be a temporary event here for a week, it shows that it is possible for those streets to host that kind of energy again. I think there's still a lot of work to be done, and I think that it starts on the small business level, which is why, you know, we did the sandwich video, which is why we're talking about pizza places, which is why we're talking about the vibe and the impact in the streets. But this is what sports is about. Sports are meant to enrich culture and enrich community. So I think there's still a lot of work to be done to make sure that the buzz that this city is feeling right now is permanent instead of temporary. But I do think that this past week and especially the past few days have been a massive step in the right direction for San Francisco, and it's been really cool. It's been really cool. I talked to Pat McAfee for a bit yesterday. A lot of guys, a lot of people in the media coming in from the outside. What they have said, especially about the food scene here in San Francisco, I think that this place has gotten pummeled so much in the media that people have forgotten what makes it what it is and what makes it so great. And I think a lot of it starts with how well you can eat here. And obviously it is an extraordinarily beautiful and scenic place. But the way that people are talking about the food here, and they've like everybody that's come to the Super Bowl has turned into a food influencer. And no offense, and some people will take offense to this, but not everybody who goes to Indianapolis for the NFL Combine turns into a food influencer, right? Like, not like I could list a bunch of other cities. I don't just have to pick on Indianapolis, but I think that when you come to San Francisco, there are so many things, like from the culinary perspective, that are just shoved in front of you. It's so easy. It's 7 by 7 miles, and it's every nationality, every ethnicity of food. Like it's all there. It's hard, especially in this age of social media, not to be a food influencer. I mean, it was naturally part of my 49ers coverage already for 4 years. I'm just walking down the street, I get a good sandwich, and it's like, okay, 49ers update. They just traded for Christian McCaffrey. Let's feature a sandwich shop over here and talk about the 49ers trade over there, and then throw the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. It's just so easy to do here. I began that organically in 2021, 2022. Now you see the whole world come here, and I think that it's been easy for them to start that organically, just because all that this city, and then by extension this entire region, has to offer. So it's been really, really neat. That is the story of the week, is seeing San Francisco in the spotlight. It's been neat to visit with some of the 49ers people, what we were doing yesterday, and just they're enjoying this too. They could sit back and they maximized their season in 2025, which I think is really cool. A lot of people ask me about what it was like to cover this season with so many injuries and all the BS that the 49ers had to go through. And I'll say that, I'm entering year 10 now. I've covered 9 of these seasons. I've never felt a locker room after the end of a season as fulfilled as the 49ers locker room in 2025. And I think that the feeling is accurate, and I think that it is very reflective of reality, in that they left everything that they possibly could on the table this year. They maximized the season. There will be 2 teams. There will be only 2 teams in the entire league this year that will leave this season feeling that they have absolutely dried out every single drop of it, that they've completely maximized it. One of those 2 teams will be the Super Bowl winner, either the New England Patriots or the Seattle Seahawks, and the other one of those 2 teams is already the San Francisco 49ers. Everybody else is going to leave with some kind of regret. The 49ers of 2019 and 2023, those are 2 Super Bowl years. Even those 2 years, I felt that the 49ers left with regrets. They left something on the table. I would say 2022, even though, they saw the quarterbacks get hurt, so they kind of just shrugged their shoulders after they lost to the Eagles. Well, they could have done a little bit more in the regular season, probably, to earn home field advantage in 2022. Obviously, everything kind of broke in a weird way that year, but they lost early on against Chicago with Trey Lance, and then Jimmy Garoppolo came in. And I think there were some regrettable things over the course of that season early, especially, that put the 49ers in position to have to travel to Philadelphia, where Brock Purdy got hurt. The point is that there was a feeling of meat left on the bone in those powerhouse seasons. In 2019, in 22, 21, Jaquaski Tart dropping the pick. 2023, there is not a feeling of meat left on the bone in 2025 for the 49ers. They left it all out there. They overcame a staggering amount of injuries to become the only team in NFL history to win 13 games, despite an injury toll as big as the one that we've seen. It was one of the bigger injury tolls that we've ever seen, if you just want to see the amount of games lost by star players, by legitimate force multiplying difference makers. And they still won those 13 games. It looks like they might have broken the Eagles again. Did the 49ers break the Eagles twice? Should be a question mark. They broke the Eagles back in 2000 and 23, right? The Philadelphia, did they win a single game after that? They might have won one more after the 49ers dropped 40 plus on them in Philly. And after defeating the Eagles in the wild card round of this 2026 season or 25 season, 2026 postseason, we have seen the Eagles lose their offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland, due to some kind of internal dispute. I think he felt disrespected by Nick Sirianni, and now looks like 2 offensive linemen might retire for the Eagles, and that is a tremendously quick descent for what was the strongest portion of that team, the offensive line. I think in 2024, that line was spearheading the Philadelphia Eagles, and both of these tailspins have happened after losses to San Francisco. Michael has commented. Michael, I think I owe you an Instagram message. Sorry, it's been really, really busy this week. Oh, my goodness. Michael, this is going to cover my face for a little bit. $99.99. Jeff Stoutland, thank you. I appreciate you, man. We're going to be able to eat here in the city today. Going to be able to go get a nice meal, maybe 2 sandwiches. Maybe that will cover 2 $50 sandwiches. They're not exactly 50, but you could find a $30 sandwich in San Francisco. That's one of the bigger problems of this city. But I am keeping this in front of my face right now because that is a big amount, and it's a good question. Jeff Stoutland resigned as offensive line coach of the Eagles. Many people in NFL circles regard him as the best offensive line coach in the NFL. Should the 49ers try to hire him and let Chris Foerster go, considering the offense's struggle to run the football this past season? I think that Kyle Shanahan holds Chris Foerster in very high regard. He thinks he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the entire game. I actually don't think that the 49ers run issues this year were overtly tied to the offensive line. I think that they had bigger issues with perimeter blocking this year. When George Kittle was not available, the 49ers ranked in the 20s in terms of run blocking efficiency. When George Kittle was available, they ranked in the top 10. They did not, for sure, without Brandon Ayuk there and with Juwan Jennings playing with a lot of broken ribs over the course of this season, they for sure did not get the blocking that they had in the past from their receivers. In Kyle Shanahan's system, it's not just the 5 offensive linemen that have to block. It's so important that your tight ends, I guess, more than one of those guys, and your receivers are delivering in the run blocking game. I don't think that the 49ers had that. I think that the data suggests that that was the missing variable for much of this season for San Francisco. So no, I don't think they're going to move off of Chris Foerster. I think that he's a schematic fit based on how he coaches. I think that Jeff Stoutland does things a little bit differently, and I don't think that the 49ers would make that drastic of a change along the offensive line. But it is a good question, and thank you to Michael for the $100 super chat. Really, really cool. You know, Mike in our text just points out that the World Cup is also coming to the Bay Area, Levi's Stadium this summer. That's going to bring people into the region. I forgot which countries are playing in the World Cup at Levi's Stadium, but yes, that will bring many, many more visitors here. I think from just a strictly American perspective, the Super Bowl is a bigger event, and it's the full week. And I know the World Cup will be stretched out over some portion of time as well. But just the media that goes around the Super Bowl and all the parties around the city. I mean, it has been electric here. It has been really cool. And one thing right now, it's overcast this morning, and it's going to clear. You know how it is. It's that early morning marine layer in San Francisco. I'm sure that we'll start to see the sun by 11 and 12 or 1. That happens pretty frequently in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. It just depends on how close you are to the Pacific Ocean. That was not a thing this week. It was sunny from wire to wire. And it's February 7th right now. So this week started very early February. This is the first week of February. The rest of the country is freezing. Like, we literally have ice storms and power outages and just horror stories around or a lot of the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And people have come to San Francisco and enjoyed at 70-degree weather, sun wire to wire on these days. And I will even say on top of that, 68, 67, 68 degrees in San Francisco. And if somebody's a meteorologist or a scientist, you can explain why. But I don't know why, but 67 or 68 in San Francisco feels like 76, 77 anywhere else. I don't know if the sun is a little bit clear because I know the air is really clean here. I don't know if there's some humidity here that the rest of the West Coast doesn't have that really holds the heat a little bit more. But in a very pleasant way, like people will look at 60 degrees and say, "Oh, it's a little chilly," but 60 here feels like 70 anywhere else. So it's felt like the high 70s, I would say, based on the the temperature and what that actual temperature feels like. So the weather has been amazing, the food has been amazing, and I think it's been a great week for the city, and I think that's a massive win for the 49ers too, because they're this is the Bay Area, this is their home, and this was their chance to showcase that and everything that it has to offer. And everything that my channel has tried to convey over the course of the half decade that we've been in operation has been that sports are not just what's played on the field. Sports are about the fans. Sports are about the community. Sports are about bringing all of those forces together, because I understand at some point there are people's escape from reality. And I don't think that we'd be covering the Super Bowl right if we didn't cover the culture and we didn't cover what was going on at the street level. And that's what we're trying to do right now. The World Cup is going to have 6 matches at Levi's Stadium featuring teams including Switzerland, Qatar, Austria, Jordan, Paraguay, Algeria, Australia, and a European playoff winner. The first match is going to be on June 13th, and the last match is going to be on July 1st. So the World Cup is going to take a large chunk of June, a large chunk of this summer, and it's going to be at Levi's Stadium, obviously. It's going to probably include fans filtering in and out from different countries. So first Qatar and Switzerland. There are direct flights to San Francisco from both of those countries. Qatar Airways, one of the best airlines in the world, actually. If I know that I will have made it if I can ever afford a Qatar Airlines or Airways first class flight. I think they cost like $40,000. So I'm not at that spot yet. But Switzerland, obviously, you can come in on Swiss Air. Austria and Jordan, a few days after that. Paraguay against the European playoff winner from Group C. And then Jordan against Algeria, Paraguay against Australia. And then we don't know the game the match on July 1st. It's going to be the Group D winner against the third place team from Group D. So I don't understand how the World Cup bracket works. I'm not going to pretend to understand that, but it seems that there may be one or two more countries that we don't know that are going to be rolling here through the Bay Area. Mike says that Kyle doesn't want to have to teach a new O-line coach what he wants. That is true. That's what I said. Like, Kyle's very specific about this. Chris Foerster has been with Kyle since the Washington Redskins days. Sean McVay wanted to hire Chris Foerster in 2017, and Chris was with the Miami Dolphins at the time, but Miami blocked that at the time. So this entire coaching tree, I think, has a lot of respect for the way that Chris Foerster coaches the outside zone. And I would highly, highly doubt that the 49ers would try to make a move to replace him, even if somebody that has the level of respect that Jeff Stoutland has garnered is available. Do they trade Mac or not? I don't think they trade Mac. And the latest indications are that the 49ers don't want to trade Mac Jones. And the reason why is because a deep quarterback room is worth its weight in gold in this league. Now, if they're totally blown away, every man has his price. We understand that. But I think that the 49ers are operating from the starting position of they don't really want to trade Mac Jones. And if somebody wants to change their mind on that, then they're going to have to pay up in order to do so. And it's cool that we're talking about that the day after Tom Brady had the grand opening of Card Vault. I guess he's invested quite a bit of money in that store. The wall was so cool to see the Brock Purdy 14. I got some responses on X after I posted that yesterday. It's like, Brock Purdy is actually supposed to be number 13. And I'm like, guys, you're missing the point. He was number 14 for a few weeks of his rookie season before he made the 53-man roster and got the number 13. So it's a rarity to see him. I think that his first rookie card actually was him wearing the number 14 jersey. So they have that up there. They also have Steve Young in a Bucks jersey, which is a relative rarity as well. So it would be boring to put Steve Young in a 49ers jersey and Brock Purdy in a 13 on the wall. I wanted to see the Purdy 14 and the Young number 8 Tampa jersey. That was cool to me. I thought that was a neat touch at Card Vault where Tom Brady showed up last night. Oh, wow. Well, Slovakia might come to the... I'm not Slovak. I'm Czech, but they used to be joined. Czechoslovakia used to be one country. So it looks like Romania, Slovakia, Romania, or Turkey could, if this is true from the notorious GAV, if this is true, I'll trust you on that. If that's true, then those could be, one of those countries could be headed to the Bay Area for the World Cup. Yeah, here's this Prism card that is up on the wall, or at least it is the inspiration behind Brock Purdy being up on the wall with his 14 jersey. Mike sent it to me, and I've just got to get it up on the screen for everybody. Let me hit the save button, and we'll go from there. Purdy 14, I believe he's playing against the Houston Texans in the preseason of that 2022 season. Here we go. Cool, right? I mean, if Purdy keeps on playing at a superstar level, and this will become worth more and more. I think Brady always wore number 12 from the moment of the Hall of Fame game all the way to the end of his career. He was number 12 throughout. So there's no Tom Brady wearing number 11 or number 13 trading cards or pictures. But imagine how much one of those would be worth if that existed. So there's that potential with Brock Purdy. We did get some news this week about the 49ers headed to Australia, the 19-hour time difference. And, I was out and about. I know I made a video here in San Francisco when that first happened, but I didn't have a chance to share a photo of the actual stadium. And I've been collecting some information about this, speaking to some people over the course of the last few days. This is the stadium where it's going to happen. It's called the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's one of the largest stadiums in the world. 49ers are going to play the Rams here at some point late August, early September, week 1, week 0, whatever they're going to call it. This place seats 95,000 and fits 5,000 standing room. So it's about 100,000 capacity. The NFL is confident that this will be sold out in Australia. And I know that Australian fans and subscribers of this channel who have commented a lot over the course of the past few days also seem to be confident that this will be sold out in Australia. So I am fired up. I really am. 100,000 Australian football fans. I'm sure some of those will be Americans making the trip, making the 15 to 16-hour flight to Melbourne. But this could be a really, really cool vibe. Now, they're probably going to play this game at noon Australian time, which will mean that it's going to be 5 p.m. the preceding day on the West Coast. So it's going to be a primetime kickoff in the United States, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 12 noon in Australia. And since this is in September, it's going to be, I believe there's spring. It's going to be inverted seasons. So you're going to be looking at probably a 66, 67 degree day. Could be perfect. Could be absolutely perfect football weather out there in the land down under. So it is what it is. I mean, you can complain all you want about the 49ers having to travel, but that's already been set by the NFL. The Rams have to travel too. I think it hurts the 49ers more than the Rams in that you take away a technical Rams home game, but the 49ers fans take over SoFi Stadium. So you're essentially losing a 49ers home field advantage, which I think they have at SoFi. I think that this spares the Rams of the annual organizational embarrassment that is their home game against the 49ers because it's red and gold across 75 to 80% of SoFi Stadium every single year. The Rams don't have to deal with that. Now, for 49ers fans down in LA who are disappointed about this, there is a consolation prize. The 49ers play the Chargers next year at SoFi. So get your tickets for that game. You'll have a chance to take over the stadium. You might even be able to take it over more easily than taking over the Rams stadium because the Chargers don't have any fans either. So that's not the only game that the 49ers can play at SoFi next season. Super Bowl 61 is at SoFi as well. So the 49ers will still have a goal of playing 2 games at SoFi next year, despite the fact that they're going to be opening up against the Rams in Australia. This is a good one. We need to thank the Rams for building us $1 billion stadium in Inglewood, California. Yeah, completely free of charge. The Rams have built the 49ers a stadium right by LAX airport. You don't even have to deal with LA, which is great. You could just land at LAX, drive 5 minutes to the stadium and fly out. I've actually done that. It's don't even have to step in. And, I know I'll have a lot of visitors from LA, but it's all fun and games. But it is kind of cool that you could just not deal with any of that traffic and go down there for the day, fly out. And I will say that SoFi is really nice. I respect the architecture of SoFi Stadium. I know that they've, just like with Levi's, they built a little bit more around SoFi than they have around Levi's. But one of the criticisms of SoFi is that there isn't a whole lot going on around it, like Levi's Stadium. But the stadium itself is an architectural jewel. And maybe the 49ers do play there twice next year because the Super Bowl is at SoFi's. That's SoFi. SoFi is a San Francisco-based company, by the way. It stands for social finance. And they sponsor, I guess, the 49ers home away from home down in Southern California. You're on fire. Whoever this is your second great comment. That's what happens when the Rams betray a city every 10 years. You lose your fan base every 10 years. You estrange your fan base, and then that vacuum is filled by the 49ers of the 80s and 90s were so good, and they were close. They were just up the coast in San Francisco. That's where the fans turn to. And the Rams, I was talking about this the other day. They not only left for St. Louis, they also left Los Angeles for Anaheim before they left to St. Louis. And LA is, that's, I understand that the 49ers are in Santa Clara technically now, but Anaheim is like a different state than LA. I think it's just the traffic patterns of that area, Orange County versus LA County. That is a much more disjointed thing than the Bay Area. So when the Rams moved to Anaheim, LA started forgetting about them. When the 49ers moved to Santa Clara, that San Francisco didn't forget about them. They're still huge in San Francisco. You can want the 49ers to be a candlestick all you want. I would prefer that myself, but I think that what happened in LA when the Rams moved to Anaheim Stadium began the estrangement of the fan base, and then it was completed when they moved from Anaheim to St. Louis. And they moved back, but they have struggled to build back the presence that they had before then. The Raiders, Mike says, should be in LA. That's a whole other offshoot to this story, right? The Raiders were in Oakland, then they moved down to LA, then they moved back to Oakland, then they moved to Las Vegas. Yeah, the Raiders in LA would have made a whole lot of sense, especially before the Rams and the Chargers both moved there. I think LA is it would have you would avoid a lot of these fan takeovers that you're seeing in LA with the most effectiveness if the LA was a one-team city. I don't think it should be a two-team city. If LA was a one-team city and that one team was the Raiders, the Rams should have stayed in St. Louis. They had a good, loyal fan base in St. Louis. The Chargers should have stayed in San Diego. They had a good, loyal fan base in San Diego. And Vegas could have remained neutral ground. The Raiders should be in LA. That's the way I look at it. Or Oakland, but I think Oakland lost all of its teams, right? Oakland lost all of its teams, and then there are reasons behind that. We don't have to get into those reasons, but obviously no pro team wanted to be in Oakland. So if you just want to look at this from how could each team have the best possible home field environment without visiting fans just completely taking over their stadium, like visiting fans do in Las Vegas, like visiting fans do in LA. If the Raiders were in LA and Vegas was just neutral territory without a football team, I think that's how you would have it would make the most sense. Now, I know that visiting fans love the fact that the Raiders are in Vegas because that gives them an excuse to travel to Vegas. And I respect that. If you want to go to Vegas and you think that's a good reason and you like that, sure, that you can have that opinion. But just speaking from a brand perspective for the NFL, they wanted strongholds, home fan strongholds for all these teams. I think that's the way that it would have to be. Somebody's saying St. Louis fans would not pay for a new stadium, nor should they pay for a new stadium. Why should St. Louis taxpayers have to pay for a stadium? It always makes me laugh when people think that NFL owners need tax money to build a stadium. They don't. Have you seen how much money all of these teams make? Like, we should not be being taxed more for a number of reasons, but especially for stadiums. Like, it's ridiculous. These stadiums are big-time profit-returning investments for billionaires who can afford to build them. And if a single billionaire can't afford to build a stadium, then he can raise money. I mean, this is a capitalist society, right? He could raise money. There's several ways to finance these things. Several very cost-effective ways to finance these things. The San Francisco Giants built the first privately financed baseball stadium in the United States. And that was Oracle Park, which we showed you at the start of this video, across the street from Tom Brady's card shop. The Warriors privately financed all of Chase Center. It's a beautiful venue right on the waterfront, just south of downtown San Francisco. There's no reason that these stadiums cannot be built with private money. So, I understand when owners leave and go somewhere else because they're businessmen too. They want to get the best deal possible. But to say that the city of St. Louis was at fault for losing the the Rams because the taxpayers didn't want to pay for it. I mean, I don't think that's a fair assumption. Sometimes business is business, and the owner is going to follow the money, and I understand that. But blaming the taxpayers for not wanting to pay for something that the owner can definitely afford, especially if the owner just raises money, it seems really, really silly to me. All right, guys, it's time for me to go eat breakfast. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. You know what? I'm looking forward to Australia. I know it's still a few months away, but we'll have a lot of time to break all this down. There's the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Everybody hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you very soon.